You're listening to the Life Upgrade Lab, home of the Fresh Start Files. I'm Julie Hernandez, pharmacist, life coach, and your partner in real-life growth experiments. Lab coats and gloves optional, glitter goggles encouraged. Let's grab our glitter goggles, friend. We'll open today's file and get started. At 2:30 a.m., you wake up and your mind says, maybe I'm just lazy. Today, we're opening Fresh Start File number 4. Why motivation isn't the problem, identity is. Welcome back to the Life Upgrade Lab, home of the Fresh Start Files, where we run faith-filled life experiments that actually create change. I'm Julie Hernandez, pharmacist and life coach, and today we're dismantling one of the biggest myths in personal growth, that motivation comes first. Glitter goggles on, let's investigate. The motivation myth, here's your case background. Many women tell me, I just can't get motivated. If I felt more motivated, I'd be consistent. I know what to do, I just don't do it. Friend, I also feel these things. Just this morning, I decided not to go to the gym and work out at home. Well, that doesn't often work very well. But I also didn't even want to go on a 10-minute walk, and I had to use Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. She's not Christian, just so you know, just as a disclaimer. If you haven't read that book, or because she describes the brain science behind it, but if you haven't read her book or read a synopsis of her book or even heard of it, then check it out. Or you can just take the information from me. If you just count out loud from 5 backwards, it activates a particular activating system in your brain to somehow just do it. So it kind of tricks your brain because we're used to counting up, not down. Anyway, I had to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 myself into going on a 10-minute walk. It's just 10 minutes. Why was I so resistant to go on a walk? For my health benefit, I can squeeze that in. Anyways, so just so you know, it's not going to ever go away, this motivation myth. We're not going to be motivated a lot of the times. So here's what we're going to do. The key to remember, motivation is a feeling. And what creates our feelings? Our thoughts. I must have had an underlying thought. It's cold out. I don't feel like it. Yada, da, yada, da, yada, da. You can figure out what your thought is behind your lack of motivation or your resistance. Feelings are terrible leaders. When you wait for motivation, you hand your future over to your emotions. And we don't want to do that. Here's our brain and scripture evidence. From the brain, motivation is a result, not a starting point. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. Your brain asks, is this who we are? If the action doesn't match the identity that you're actually feeling who you are, the brain resists, no matter how good the goal is. So from scripture, James 2:17 says, faith is revealed through action. Romans 12:2, our signature verse, renewed thinking leads to transformed living. And Galatians 2:20, I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. Identity precedes effort. If you missed last week's podcast, go back and look at the identity shift we talked about. Because there's an identity that we believe who we are, and there's a true identity who God says we are. And we are working to change what our brain thinks about who we really are and live as God says who we are. Here's your key reframe to set you free. We don't act because we feel motivated. We act because we believe this is who we are now. Motivation follows alignment. I don't feel like it becomes, this is what someone like me does when we start changing our identity. That's not pressure, that's freedom. We don't act because we feel motivated. We act because we believe this is who we are now. So with regard to motivation following alignment, once I got out there and started walking, I felt good. I was listening to a podcast while I walked, and I felt good, and I was able to walk a little bit farther than I usually do just because I felt like it suddenly. I just took one step of obedience and I was able to enjoy and keep going. This is what I want for you, the freedom. Here's your lab experiment. Identity before motivation. Experiment number 4, identity first action. Choose one action you've been waiting to feel motivated to do. This week, name the identity you're stepping into. I'm someone who follows through. I'm someone who walks 10 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day, whatever it is. Take the smallest version of the action. 2 minutes counts. And if you need to, try the 5-second rule. Don't forget about it. Notice how motivation shows up after you start, just like with me and my walk. You're training your brain with evidence. Here's your lab protocol. How to stop relying on motivation. Identity-led action is your life upgrade protocol. Stop asking, do I feel like it? Start asking, who am I becoming? Act small, but on purpose. Motivation will catch up. Here's your lab report. You're not stuck because you lack motivation. You're stuck because you've been taught to wait for it. God doesn't call you to feel ready. He calls you to walk forward in obedience, and He meets you in the movement. If this lifted pressure off your shoulders, stay with me. Next, we're talking about tiny habits and how they actually rewire your brain. Follow or subscribe so you don't miss the next Fresh Start file. Share this with a friend who might need it. The lab is open.
Thanks for joining me inside the Life Upgrade Lab. Experiments may get messy, but progress is still progress. If today's case file helped you, follow the show, leave a review, or share it with a friend who needs a fresh start. Until next time, keep your glitter goggles close and keep upgrading your life.